Imagine for a moment a universe where things didn't quite make sense, where the laws of physics and cosmology were guidelines instead of rules. In such a universe, strange things would happen all the time, things no one can explain. Well, the truth is, my fellow curious mind, you don't have to imagine. We're already living in one. We don't actually know that much about our universe. There's so much left to discover and so much left to explain. So here are 3 mysteries from the outer universe that scientists have trouble explaining. So switch your brain on, and maybe you can figure out what's going on here. Let's get into it. Your first question is probably, how do I pronounce this? Przybylski. Przybylski's star. Now, first things first, our sun. It takes 35 days to rotate around its own axis. Przybylski's star takes 188 days. So that's odd, but not all that interesting. The real interesting thing is, this star shouldn't exist at all. Przybylski's star is made up of a host of ultra-rare elements that makes its existence near impossible. Furthermore, these elements exist as short-lived radioactive isotopes with a half-life of just a few thousand years. This star is over 1 billion years old, so these isotopes should have degraded a long time ago. Theories abound, but of course my favorite, aliens. What if intelligent alien life has created a star that produces these elements, which they can then harvest? Or stranger still, what if aliens have found a way to live inside of the star, and the elements we are seeing are produced by a complex chemical process used to sustain life within the star? Those are silly, of course. There's no science there. The truth is that we are probably looking at these elements in a different state than what we know them on Earth. But even then, how would that be possible? Maybe aliens are to blame after all. What do you think? Tabby's star, otherwise known as Boyajine's star or the WTF star, yes. It's found in the Cygnus constellation and isn't visible with the naked eye. Scientists who have been observing it have found something rather unusual though, a dimming of the star that can't be explained. One way scientists detect objects in space is by observing stars. When something moves in between us and the star, judging on how much the star dims and how the object handles light, we can make a fair assumption as to what the object is, more or less. It turns out the object rotating around Tabby's star is 20 times the size of Jupiter. That can't be. The largest planet we found is only 1.12 times larger than Jupiter. So what is causing this dimming? Theories abound, of course. It could be a swarm of asteroids. Some think it could be dust, which is the most plausible theory we have today. But who knows, it could even be a brown dwarf, which is a failed star, just waiting to disprove more theories about how we think the universe works. Others, of course, think it's an alien megastructure. Probably my favorite theory about this strange event is that it's a Dyson swarm rotating around this star. If you're not familiar with the term Dyson sphere, it's a hypothetical megastructure designed to encompass a star and harvest almost all of the solar energy from that star. So some speculate that in this relatively close-by galaxy, aliens have achieved something similar. Maybe it was a full Dyson sphere at some point but got torn apart by asteroids, or even ripped apart by the gravity of the star. Look, aliens are always fun to think about, but in the pursuit of science, we can't take that too seriously. But I am curious. What do you think? The Emerald Galaxy. This anomaly, named LIDA 074886 officially, is called the Emerald Galaxy because it's shaped like an emerald. In case you don't know, emeralds resemble rectangles. Galaxies? Not so much. Obviously the cause is aliens. They've gone and used their Dyson spheres to build an artificial emerald galaxy just to mess with us. I kid, of course, But it is peculiar, isn't it? We know what galaxies are supposed to look like, and by our current understanding, this one shouldn't exist. The most plausible theory currently is that this is what happens when two galaxies collide. The thing is, our current models for galaxy mergers are wet and dry, wet being a gas-rich environment and dry being with little gas. I'll resist the temptation to do fart jokes, and I won't explain the science either because I don't fully understand it. But according to the paper I read, neither of these models fully explain the existence of this galaxy. The researcher notes that it's probably a combination of the two in some way or form, but further research is required. Can you figure it out? If we assume the merger theory to be correct, we could ourselves be living in an emerald galaxy 3 billion years from now, when the Milky Way collides with the Andromeda galaxy. I doubt the human race has that long left to live, but it is fun to think about. Another theory I've heard of but not explored yet is that this is what newly formed galaxies look like, until their edges are stripped away by grazing other galaxies. Yeah, I guess, but I don't think that's super plausible. If you look at the merger theory and the shape of the galaxy, that kinda makes sense. But it remains a theory. What do you think is the reason behind this strange galaxy? Those were 3 of my favorite mysteries from the outer universe. There are of course many more. Dark matter, for example, deserves its own episode, and I do have one planned. But our little blue pebble has its own range of mysteries, and I want to air them all. We're just getting started, and with that, I bid you adieu. I'll see you in the next video.